Okay,
Browns without Browns, the Browns.
2:39 in
Another
Monticello
Tuesday
in
night
about
elections
an
all
hour
over
and
the
3
country.
minutes.
Kansas turns down a sort of anti-abortion absolutist referendum. Democrats are doing high fives and saying abortion is at the center of the elections in November. I do not believe that. I think that is one of those crazy false positives for the left that they run with. What do you make of Tuesday night's election? First of all, Eric Schmidt won. Thank God we can win that seat. But what else?
Well, what I also make of the referendum is that voters are very, very reluctant to amend their constitution. They have a constitution.
Merge onto I-84 East.
And that constitution, and I think that's what the voters have shown. But I totally agree with you. I'm thrilled that the Democrats are high-fiving over this. They're going to spend their time between now and November talking about abortion. But what the overwhelming majority of Americans are worried about in this country are runaway gas prices, inflation in the supermarket, crime in the streets, and the ejection of parents from the educational system of their children. That's what Republicans have been talking about nonstop between now and November. And if we do, and we don't take the bait on abortion.
In 8.5 miles, take exit 34 onto Pennsylvania Route 739 toward Lawrence Valley.
In great large part because of the work that you and others did on the Republican trust. Redistricting is fair overall. So the House is going to be Republican. Do you agree with that assessment?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the House is going to be Republican. It's coming down to the Senate and winning back the Senate. And I think we ought to run on China and inflation and jobs and education. But let me ask you specifically about Senator Sinema. And I'm assuming she wants to be president. She's in a unique position, almost unprecedented. She can have whatever she wants, and she wants to be president. As a moderate Democrat, a lefty who's moving to the center, what would you advise her to ask for to keep the Democrats and yet get Republicans to say, oh, that was smart?
Well, I'll tell you, I think the smartest thing she can do is say no. Just absolutely say no. If what she really wants is to be president, she will gain the admiration of a majority of the American people if she says during a recession, it is absolute book theory that you don't increase spending for the government and you don't increase taxes on people. And I think that the smartest thing is what she wants, if you're correct, if she wants to be president, then the smartest thing she can do is say no and have everybody go home for August recess.
Okay, assuming I agree with you, but she doesn't, and she decides I'm going to stay a Democrat, I got to fend off a left-wing challenger in the primary in 2 years. I think it's 2 years. So I got to let this pass, but I got to get something. It's sort of like when Susan Collins gave a speech for Brett Kavanaugh. Everybody watched. It's when John McCain turned thumbs down. Iconic moments are rare. She can give a speech that everybody in the country will watch. What should she say in that speech, Chris Christie?
I think what she should say in that speech is to do what John McCain did and put thumbs down. I don't see anything that can justify this.
8 hours and 18 minutes so far.
And I don't know how she can give a speech getting something else, some other piece of court or some other law change that can justify voting for a bill that increases taxes, that increases government spending in the midst of a recession. I think the patriotic move is to do what I just said, which is to go down and be the next Arizona senator to put thumbs down on something and kill it in the Senate. And I think that's what she should do, and that's what her speech should be.
Now, China has thrown off a bunch of missiles this morning, some of which landed in Japan's exclusive zone. She could, if she was going to vote for it, say, we need to get serious about China, and I'm funding the Columbia class. I'm building Virginia. You know I'm a submarine nut, because I used to ask you about this. So, with that's patriotic, too, to get our national defense up. Because, you know, Chris Christie, you're running for president. Everybody in the world's got to talk about China for the next 2 years.
Well, there's no doubt about that, Hugh. And look, if that was something she would be willing to do, and that she could get some of her fellow Democrats to vote for, I would be totally for that. I just don't believe that any of these Democrats want to increase defense spending in a way that makes sense to deal with the threat we're dealing with now, which is an aggressive China. And I don't know that they really care to do that. But if they could, that would be a great thing to do.
All right, last question, Governor Christie. It's clear to me the former president is running for president again. It's clear to me that Ron DeSantis is going to go whether or not the former president runs, as is Mike Pompeo and Tom Cotton, as is Chris Christie and Larry Hogan, as is Ted Cruz, as is Nikki, well, maybe not Nikki Haley, the Vice President Pence is certainly running. Do you agree with my assessment? We're going to need a podium for at least a dozen people.
I think it'll be less few when push comes to shove. My guess is that it'll be somewhere between 6 and 8, and I think that we'll see people talking about whether the future of the Democratic Party, or the Republican Party rather, is just the party of me or the party of us. That's going to be the decision that we're going to have to make.
You're going to be one of those 6 to 8 people. Who are the other ones you expect to run, Governor? Candor being prized on the You Hewitt show.
But look, I expect that we'll see what I do, but I expect Vice President Pence will be there. I expect Secretary of State Motel will be there. I expect Senator Cruz will be there. And I expect former President Trump will be there. And I expect that current Senator Tom Scott will probably be there. Beyond that, I'm less convinced of anybody else.
Okay, and so when should those conversations begin? I would like the debates to start in December and have one a month or one every 2 weeks.
Look, I think that would be great. I think that the appropriate time to start would probably be January of 23, and let's have a full year of conversation amongst candidates before we start voting in Iowa, New Hampshire in the early part of 24.
Boy, would that be great for the party. Don't you think? That would be great for the Republican Party.
It would be fabulous for the Republican Party and for the country. And as long as everybody was asked hard questions and to follow up, so that everybody is grabbed by the lapels and having to give answers and not just platitudes.
Now, who does that better than me, Governor? You're here for ReliefFactor.com. I love Relief Factor. I take it every single day on the show. I remind my listeners before they leave in their morning commute to take ReliefFactor.com to deal with their lower back, their knee, their shoulder pain, whatever kind of nagging injury they've got, whether it's just the aches and pains of being another day older. You ought to be out there exercising, especially now when we all know the better shape we are, the better off we are for the long term. So ReliefFactor.com helps take care of those minor aches and pains that accompany aging or exercise. You're definitely getting older. You're definitely should be exercising. Maybe you can start today. Maybe you're a weekend warrior. In any event, try ReliefFactor.com. Pete and Seth Talbot are friends of mine. They throw their heart and soul into this product. It's a great product. Give it a try like tens of thousands of other people. $19.95 a month gets you started. $19.95 a month at ReliefFactor.com. ReliefFactor.com. Or, of course, you can always call them at 1-800-500-8384. 800-500-8384. Tell them Hugh sent you.
This is the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Interested in knowing what's going on in our area of northeastern PA?
The album was done, and everybody was kind of pressuring them to just put it out. But then one day they were just messing around in the studio, and they came up with what would become Pour Some Sugar on Me. And their producer heard it and was like, this song is going to be the most important song on the record. So they added it to the track list, and the rest is history.
The Tri-States Rock Station. Oh, yeah. Back to the music in minutes on 103.7 NNJ.
Don't miss the Bourbon and Barbecue Night at Black Bear Golf Course in Franklin on Friday, August 12th. Tickets include an all-you-can-eat barbecue feast, bourbon tastings, putting and chipping competitions, live music, pool and darts, golf equipment demos, $5 draft beers, and more. Doors open at 6 p.m. for general admission. Or golfers can tee off in a 9-hole scramble at 4. We'll see you at the Bourbon and Barbecue Shindig at Black Bear Golf Course on Route 23 in Franklin. View full details at thecrystalspringsresort.com.
In the wee hours of the night, when everyone else is fast asleep, you're the one on third shift, burning the midnight oil. When a part fails and everything comes to a grinding halt, regardless of what the clock on the wall says, you leap into action. Grainger is with you and all the ones who get it done. With 24/7 customer support by phone or click to chat. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey golfers, diversity in the game is valued at Crystal Springs Resort as they welcome the original T-Golf Classic, celebrating the African-American golf enthusiasts and supporting fellowship. This amazing event is sponsored by the country's top-rated iHeartMedia and PGA Tour Superstore. Stop by your PGA Tour Superstore in East Hanover or Paramus to check out their brand new studios and get fitted with their club-certified golf pros. Shop the largest selection of men's and women's apparel and more. Visit PGATourSuperstore.com.
This ad furnished by Nesmataju LLC. Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out card.
And affordable prices. They produce the #1 selling brand of chainsaws and a full line of powerful built-to-last outdoor power tools, including blowers, trimmers, bush cutters, pressure washers, and a full line of construction tools. Find steel products at Derlin Brothers in Honesdale and Lords Valley, Greentown Agway, and Schaefer's Hardware. Derlin Brothers is your one-stop shop for home improvement. Visit them at any of their locations. Derlin Brothers Lumber in Honesdale, Greentown Agway, Lords Valley, Narrowsburg Lumber in Narrowsburg, and Schaefer's Hardware in Hamlin. Derlin Brothers Lumber has the expertise and products to get your projects done.
Hi everyone, it's Ron Tussle from the Pennsylvania Sportsman Radio Show.
In 2 miles, take exit 34 onto Pennsylvania Route 739 toward Lords Valley.
And 1590 AM. Each week we'll be talking about hunting, fishing, and many other outdoor adventures. The Pennsylvania Sportsman Show, Saturday mornings at 8 and Sunday mornings at 6 on William Pike News Radio and on your mobile device with the free Radio Bold app. The Pennsylvania Sportsman Radio Show.
Hugh Hewitt, joined by Texas Senator John Cornyn. Good morning, Senator Cornyn. Great to have you back.
Thanks, Hugh. Good to be with you.
Congratulations on the red flag legislation, the school safety legislation. Congratulations as well on the CHIPS Act. I wanted the CHIPS Act for a long time. We have sponsors on this show like Micron.com that wanted it. I think you were the workhorse on both of those. Are you tired and ready to go home, but instead you have to stay there and fight the poorly named Inflation Reduction Act?
No, I mean, this is a goal line stand here against this misnamed piece of legislation. We're still waiting for the parliamentarian to go through the bill, and Senator Sinema has been quiet about where she stands on this. So it's far from a done deal, and we intend to fight it every inch of the way.
Now, I've been talking with guests this morning, Senator Cornyn. Senator Sinema finds herself in a unique position. I think when Susan Collins announced her support for Brett Kavanaugh, I think when John McCain turned his thumbs down, those were iconic moments in the modern history of the United States Senate. Senator Sinema is going to give a speech that everyone's going to watch. What do you think she'll say?
Well, I've been working closely with her on a couple of those pieces of legislation you just mentioned. I found her to be a very intelligent and thoughtful person. Obviously, our politics differ dramatically in many areas, but I appreciate...
Use the right lane to take exit 34 onto Pennsylvania Route 739 toward Lords Valley.
Passed, and she wasn't consulted on this. This is a secret backroom deal between Manchin and Schumer. And Senator Manchin's done an Olympic-worthy flip-flop on his previous positions. And, when he sees a tax increase...
Take the exit, then turn left onto Pennsylvania 739.
Committee on Taxation, he says, well, no, that's not a tax increase, that's just closing loopholes. Well, I think it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people what they're trying to sell.
At the stop sign, turn left onto Pennsylvania 739 toward Pennsylvania Route 434.
We're going to find out, like we did with Obamacare, special deals for Nebraska. What was that called? The Cornhusker kickback. We're going to find all sorts of stuff in there. But Senator Sinema, am I right? She can have literally whatever she wants.
Yeah, I mean, she could stop it, or she can say, I'm not going to vote to proceed until the parliamentarian has gone through this. As you know, that's a very arduous process. It's much like an arbitration with the parliamentarian deciding what goes in and what goes out, because, of course, this circumvents the 60-vote cloture requirement that's normally used in a budget process like this. So in return for a 50-vote threshold, you basically cannot legislate on what essentially should be a budget bill.
She could ask for a massive increase of defense spending.
In 3/4 of a mile, turn right onto Well Road.
Falling from China and the Japanese economic exclusive zone. She could ask for nuclear plants expedited in every state. She could ask for charter reform, charter school reform. She could ask for anything, Senator Cornyn. If she wants to be president, Does she benefit the most by doing a John McCain thumbs down or by tailoring a special package that's patriotic and defense-oriented?
Well, you're right. She has the ultimate leverage. But as you know, this process also includes something which is frankly a little bit bizarre, a part of this process called the vote-a-rama, which is every senator has an unlimited right to offer as many amendments as they want, and for an up or down vote, it can't be blocked. And usually what happens at the end, there's a so-called wraparound vote, which negates all the Republican gains in this case were made.
Turn right onto Well Road.
Votes, let's say, with Senator Sinema perhaps voting with Republicans, perhaps other Democrats voting with the Republicans, but none of this is certain. I would say it's far from certain, but there's going to be a lot of votes.
In 5.5 miles, turn right onto Pennsylvania 434.
Positions of the Democratic Party with those of Republicans in ways I think will be helpful to us to draw those contrasts in the November midterm elections.
Yeah, I've been lobbying Senator Toomey and Cotton to limit the number of those so we can focus and really focus on those contrasts. But in the end, that wraparound amendment, am I right? It's whatever Kristen Sinema wants in that wraparound amendment, she's going to get in that wraparound amendment.
You're exactly right.
So she can ask for literally
Sunny, rain, make it fucking mine.
She can ask for nuclear power expedited. She can ask for the reform of the education spending. You've talked to her a lot. She's really smart. Am I right about that?
You are right about that. And I found her, like I said, somebody who is good to work with. It's interesting. Years ago, I learned in the Senate that you can be fighting with somebody like cats and dogs one day, and the next day you're working with them to do something that accommodates your mutual interests or common interests, and that's just the nature of the job. But I found that she is determined to get something done or to not do things. She can be a very stubborn person in a good way, I would say.
Well, I hope she does that in a good way. If she's going to vote for this nightmare bill, I think she should give it the thumbs down like John McCain. But if she goes forward, I hope she at least gets some dissent against China. John Cornyn, you've been busy. You're still there fighting, and I appreciate it. Senator from Texas. Thank you. And thank you, Adam. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, General Lisa. We're going to post the audio and transcript of Chris Christie and Jim Gary, the audio of John Cornyn. If you missed it, you ought to be subscribed to the QUit podcast.
Positively need the truth. This is where you turn. This is the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Between my cats and dogs, I never know what stains and odors I'll find on my carpet and furniture. I've tried everything, but after a day or two, they come right back. Genesis 950 with water breaks down the bonds of stains and odors so they're gone for good. Its antibacterial component removes pet odors from carpet and padding. It can be used in a carpet cleaning machine and is green, so it's safe for your family and pets. And Genesis 950 is made in America. If you're tired of pet cleaners that don't work, it's time to buy Genesis 950. 1 gallon of industrial strength Genesis 950 makes up to 7 gallons of cleaner. But Genesis 950 is not just for pet stains and odors. It's great for floors, bathrooms, kitchens, and oil and grease stains. Before you purchase new carpets, you must try Genesis 950. Order 1 gallon direct at genesis950.com to receive a free spray bottle, free shipping, and a $10 discount using code PETS. Discount only available on 1 gallon purchase. That's genesis950.com. Genesis 950, much cheaper than replacing your carpet.
This is the Hugh Hewitt Show.
50 years serving Honesdale, all of Wayne County, and the Pocono Lake region. We are WPSN Honesdale.
Yes, we always remember it's your time.
Have you ever talked to someone who was so interested in what they were going to say next that they didn't even hear what you had to say? It's a frustrating experience, to say the least. At the Dime Bank, we want to hear what you have to say. We're here to bring you the ultimate banking experience. Please tell us about your goals or a dream you want to turn into reality. We're interested, and we're here to help you make things happen. Whether you need a mortgage, home equity, personal or business loan, we will sit down with you and work through the details. Perhaps starting a savings fund is the better option for you. We have many choices, and our trusted, dependable bankers will help you find the best option to reach your financial goals. Visit us today or call 888-4MY-DIME. We're ready to listen, or if you prefer, you can open your accounts online at thedimebank.com. The Dime Bank, bringing you the ultimate experience with better banking in person and online. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Yes, we always remember it's your dime.
USA Radio News.
I'm Tony Maruso reporting. An Oklahoma City man fatally shot his 3 young children, then shot and killed himself early Saturday. A person jogging or walking called police after spotting the 4 bodies in a vehicle in a northwest Oklahoma City neighborhood about 7:30 Saturday morning, according to Captain Michelle Henderson. Henderson said police had been searching for a man and his son since shortly before 4:30 that morning after learning that he had taken the children and made concerning statements about their well-being. Ann Hayes remains hospitalized and in intensive care after a car she was driving crashed into a residence and became engulfed in flames. She has severe burns and has a long recovery ahead of her. The team and her family are still trying to process what led up to the crash. The vehicle was traveling at a high rate of speed when it ran off the road and collided with a residence, according to a Los Angeles Public Information Officer. This is USA Radio News.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medi-Share for their health care, especially now. With inflation the way it is, people are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medi-Share's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medi-Share is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre at Friday's press briefing said Texas Governor Greg Abbott is playing a costly political game with his constituents' money by chartering buses and sending migrants out of state. Friday, migrants arrived at New York City's Port Authority. Abbott, a Republican, defends the busing policy, saying it's necessary because Texans are less safe because of what he says is the Biden administration's open border policy. A federal judge sentenced a West Virginia man to 3 years
in 1 mile, turn right onto Pennsylvania 434.
Including threats to kill the United States top infectious disease official over his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. The U.S. District Judge Paula Zinnes in Greenbelt, Maryland on Thursday sentenced Thomas Conley Jr., 56, of Snowshoe, West Virginia, to 37 months in federal prison and another 3 years of supervised release. This is USA Radio News.
Suspense. The Shadow Knows. Mystery in the Air. Starring Peter Lorre. I am the Whisperer. And I know many things, for I walk by night.
The greatest radio shows of all time. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. On this radio station or at our webpage, classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. Or search your favorite podcast app.
Supporters of a recreational marijuana initiative have asked the Arkansas Supreme Court to order election officials to put their measure on the November ballot. Responsible Growth Arkansas asked the court on Thursday to reverse the State Board of Election Commissioners' rejection of the popular name and ballot title.
Turn right onto Pennsylvania 434.
Submitted more than enough signatures to qualify, but the proposal also needed the approval of the board to appear on the ballot. Remember, quality is job one? Josh Halliburton joined Ford Motor Company in January to help improve its shaky quality record. Within months, it was clear how big a challenge he faced. In May, the auto giant recalled some Ford Expeditions and Lincoln Navigators after reports of fires while vehicles were parked. In June, it recalled roughly 49,000 Mustang Mach-E electric SUVs over concerns that the battery contactors could overheat and cause the vehicle to lose power. In the first 7 months of the year, Ford had 46 separate safety recalls on 6.8 million vehicles, more than any other U.S. automaker. That's not good enough, said Mr. Halliburton, Ford's newly hired executive director of quality. We want to be a quality leader. And police in Georgia are looking for a suspected shoplifter who looks like actor Bradley Cooper. The man's accused of stealing a Bosch rotary laser kit from a Home Depot store last month in McDonough, about 30 miles southeast of Atlanta. I'm Tony Maruso, and this is USA Radio News.
Do you like to win prizes in support of your local community? Hi, this is Thomas Gogolski from the Honesdale National Bank, member FDIC. Join the Blooming Grove Volunteer Fire Department, #1 Auxiliary, for their Tricky Tray fundraiser on August 20th. This is the biggest fundraiser and have done it for over 20 years. Last year, it was virtual, but they're back live this year with all kinds of items that you can win. Doors open at 5 p.m. and calling starts at 7. All proceeds benefit the fire department. Admission is only $1. There will be free desserts, coffee, and tea inside, and a grill outside where you can purchase hamburgers, hot dogs, chili, french fries, nachos, and other beverages. Swing by the firehouse at 484 739 in Lords Valley, 1 mile north of I-84 on Route 739, exit 34, for the fun-filled evening. For more information, visit hmbbank.bank/community.
Warriors, veterans, America-loving citizens from sea to shining sea. Welcome to Front Lines of Freedom. Hoo-wah! I'm Colonel Danny Gillum. Thanks for joining us. Isn't it amazing that China hasn't yet attacked Taiwan? Why wouldn't they use Russia's attack on Ukraine as a cover? Well, the Russian army has been shown to have very, very incompetent leadership in combat, and the Russians are the one who helped train the Chinese military way back when. So maybe the Chinese don't want to have their army greatly embarrassed as the Russians have? It's all about leadership. Who knows? Okay, joining me at the 50 caliber microphone today is, of course, Marine vet Skip Coryell. Skip, Congress is really getting ready to do the big gun thing on this, aren't they? What's going on there?
Yeah, Colonel, and, with all the things going on in the world right now, the threats from Russia, the threats from China, Iran, North Korea, is this really a good time to disarm American citizens? I think we should think twice about this, Colonel. Aside from the Bill of Rights, we need to think twice about this.
Well, you use a word that isn't being used in Washington. It's called think.
Yes, that's for sure.
Okay, well, here's what we have for you today. On News and Comment by the Colonel, I'm going to discuss our military's poor reputation and the consequences. Then Chief Warrant Officer Roland Ashby will contribute his warrant wisdom. Next, former Space Force Lieutenant Colonel Matt Lohmeyer will discuss saving our military. Then we'll review General Chris Petty's book. 12 Battles Every American Should Know. Next, we'll meet Army National Guardsman Jeff Hayden. And then Marine vet Chris Whitmore will discuss Veterans Treatment Courts.
Hey, troops, please invite your friends to join us at this time on this great radio station. Then head on out to frontlinesoffreedom.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. And join the conversation at facebook.com/frontlinesoffreedom.
We welcome your input to this show. Send us your ideas and comments through our website, frontlinesoffreedom.com, or even by Facebook. Now it's time for news and comments by the Colonel on Front Lines of Freedom, and we'll start with the news, of course. First, the big news that happened a week ago. In a stunning raid in Afghanistan, U.S. forces finally tracked down and killed al-Qaeda leader and mastermind Ayman al-Zawahiri. President Biden announced the raid about a day after it occurred. Our government, on July 30th at 9:48 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:18 a.m. Kabul time, undertook a precision counterterrorism operation killing Zawahiri, who served as Osama bin Laden's deputy during the 9/11 attacks and his successor in 2011 following bin Laden's death. Biden said, quote, "Now justice has been delivered and this terrorist leader is no more. People around the world no longer need to fear this vicious and determined killer. The United States continues to demonstrate our resolve and our capability to defend American people against those who seek to do us harm. We make it clear again tonight that no matter how long it takes, no matter where you hide, if you are a threat to our people, the United States will find you and take you out." Biden then went on to explain that Zawahiri coordinated al-Qaeda's branches all around the world following bin Laden's death. That coordination of al-Qaeda activities, according to Biden, included setting priorities for providing operational guidance that call for and inspire attacks against U.S. targets, end quote. He also added the why for the delay between the time of the raid and the announcement of it, saying, quote, I'm sharing this news with the American people now after confirming the mission's total success through the painstaking work of our counterterrorism community and key allies and partners, end quote. Okay, Skip, take the news from here.
Well, Air Force officials were ordered in July not to discipline airmen who are seeking religious exemptions to the military's COVID-19 vaccine mandate. U.S. District Judge Matthew McFarland entered a preliminary injunction against the military branch. McFarland, 2 weeks earlier, issued a temporary restraining order. He asked the military to make its case as to why he shouldn't enter a preliminary injunction, a longer-lasting measure.
How is there any sense to discipline people for requesting an exemption, religious or otherwise? How can any leader at any level support such an unprofessional idea? Punished for requesting something in accordance with regulations? God help us.
Russia's state-owned gas giant Gazprom announced it will cut the flow through the Nord Stream 1 pipeline into Germany, and thus the EU, to only 20% of capacity. It is, of course, retaliation for U.S. and Western sanctions and arming of Ukrainian forces. Even as July heat sears the northern hemisphere, will Europe have enough natural gas to get through the frigid winter months?
I'm not surprised that this happened. Russia is an enemy. One should not depend on an enemy for vital supplies. You know, like we are so dependent on China for things.
And Ashley Babbitt, the 35-year-old Air Force veteran shot in the Capitol by Capitol Police Lieutenant Byrd on January 6, 2021, was murdered under the color of authority. A use of force expert concluded after reviewing video footage of the incident. Babbitt began climbing through the side window leading into the speaker's lobby and was shot in the shoulder by Byrd. She was pronounced dead a half hour later at a hospital. Kephart is a 42-year law enforcement veteran and former director of security for the 1984 Los Angeles Summer Olympics. He has testified on topics including excessive force, police discipline, officer safety, and crowd control. Quote, my conclusion, based on what I saw and observed in the video clips, is that Ashley Babbitt was murdered, Kephart said. Kephart said he saw nothing in the video evidence to indicate Byrd should have felt his life was in danger or that he was at risk of serious harm from the 5'2", 110-pound woman wrapped in a Trump flag.
So, a patriotic American veteran who was where she shouldn't have been, but was no threat to anyone, was shot and killed. Our current government people are so focused on prosecuting Trump that a little thing like this murder is being ignored. Barf.
Some House Republicans have launched an investigation into President Biden's sale of almost 1 million barrels of oil from America's Strategic Petroleum Reserve to China. They demanded that the White House produce the details of the secretive process leading to the sales to China and other sales possibly made to other foreign adversaries. The scrutiny over the sales began when it was disclosed that we sold the reserve oil to Unipec, an energy company under the control of the Chinese Communist Party. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve was created to protect America in the event of war, natural disaster, or other emergency affecting national security. The White House announced it was selling off large portions of the reserve as a gesture toward reducing retail gas prices.
How could any American permit such a sale, especially to an enemy like China? This is nuts.
Damn it.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis denounced the Chinese Communist Party for buying up huge chunks of farmland and other properties in Florida. He noted that Beijing's purchasing American real estate is a growing concern. Quote, I don't think they should be able to do it. I think
continue on to Brook Road.
Have ties to the CCP, and it's not always apparent on the face of whatever a company is doing, but I think it's a huge problem, unquote. The governor stated banning what he calls undue influence from rogue states.
For 15 miles, continue straight.
Already banned what's known as a Confucius Institute's public educational and cultural promotion programs created to educate people regarding China, thereby giving the Chinese Communist Party undue influence over our systems of higher learning.
China is a very real enemy of our nation. We need to block them from any actions in our nation. Good job, Governor.
And Taiwan's capital staged air raid drills late last month, and its military mobilized for routine defense exercises, coinciding with concerns over a forceful Chinese response to a possible visit to the island by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. While there was no direct link between China's renewed threats and Taiwan's defensive moves, they underscore the possibility of a renewed crisis in the Taiwan Strait, a potential hotspot for conflict that could envelop the entire region. Air raid sirens were sounded in the capital, Taipei, and the military was holding its annual multi-day drills, including joint air and sea exercises and the mobilization of tanks and troops. In Taipei, police directed people to shelters when a siren went off shortly after lunchtime. Streets emptied and shops closed. In recent years, Chinese military planes have frequently harassed Taiwan, and there's the war between Russia and Ukraine the Taipei mirrors.